Hello and welcome to The Dungeon. My name's Dan, and rather than playing one video game, I decided to talk about 10 different ones in one video. You see, like a lot of YouTubers, I like lists and I like to play various video games, so I thought, why not do a list of my top 10 video games of 2019? Not very original, I know, but hey, if it works, keep doing it. So first of all, a couple of disclaimers. All of the games on this list I have played, some more extensively than others, but we'll get into that with each particular one, although not all of them have a video from this year. Sometimes I just run out of time, I'm sorry. Secondly, this is just my personal list, but as it happens, it's also objectively the best top 10 list of video games of all time. So if you do have any issues with my top 10, then you have to accept the fact that you are incorrect. I'm just kidding, it's all personal taste. If you have differences or want to discuss mine and yours, then by all means leave me a comment and we can have a chat there. And finally, there were just some games which I'm sure I would have loved but never got a chance to play. I am currently playing through Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so I am liking it, but I have nowhere near enough time to give a full opinion. So maybe have that as an honorary number 11. Anything on the Switch, I'm afraid I don't own a Switch, so none of those games including Fire Emblem or Astral Chain or the Mario one where you make maps, none of those will appear on there. I am looking to get a Switch next year, so maybe in 2020 things will be a little different. Number 10. Gears 5. Despite some bugs with the single player and some issues in multiplayer with microtransactions and an unfinished horde mode, Gears 5 was still one of my more satisfying Gears entries. It has all the visceral action gore fests of previous games, but this time they've got the tech working harder with things like destroying the ice so enemies fall to their watery deaths, or upgrading your little drone friend so you can be invulnerable for a few moments. It's definitely the best looking game of the franchise, and I did appreciate the new settings of the desert and polar regions. And while some might say the open world elements made it a little samey and a little generic compared to other titles, I say, well, we now have the option of side content, which is a first for Gears, so thumbs up from me. Also, I get to kill people in MP as a T800. Game of the year for that, if nothing else. Right, for number 9, continuing with the space theme, we've got Battlefleet Gothic 2 Armada. Yes, long title, long game, lots of different things you can play in it in terms of races, but fun. Think space warfare, think 40k, and lots of ships, aliens, and blowing shit up. A strategic, kind of twitchy experience where you have to really keep track of where things are, keep track of what kind of abilities you have. Very fun and a lot of management to go alongside of it as well when you're looking at your star systems. It can get a little overwhelming when the Tyranids turn up, but that just adds to the challenge. Can you take on a fleet 3 times your size? Only one way to find out. Battlefleet Gothic 2 is a very respectable number 9. Number 8. More strategy, this time turn-based and this time on Earth. It's kind of XCOM, but it's not, and in some ways it's better. Being able to target alien body parts is a absolute dream, and it's really interesting how the 3 different factions will play off each other, and you have to find a way to appease all of them, whilst obviously making a choice as to who you're BFFs with. I am an absolute sucker for turn-based combat, and this surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. It does have its issues though. Probably of all the games on this list, this one had the most severe amount of bugs and just performance issues which desperately need to be looked at. And I really, really want there to be a multiplayer mode. Maybe one day, I can but dream. Being able to use your abilities to get around the enemy, destroy their flanks, throw grenades, poison them, acid dive them, put them on fire, all kinds of really cool stuff. And you can have at most 7 or 8 different guys in the field. You've got vehicles, they can shoot rockets, you've got lasers, you've got so much good stuff here. If you like any of the XCOM Enemy Unknown games, you definitely need to try out Phoenix Point. Number 8, Phoenix Point it is. Here we go, number 7, and the game I regret not making a video on, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Right from the get-go, this game clicked with me. I was playing it, the music started, I loved the music in this game, very kind of gothic, orchestral, very spirit-raising, very fun. And then I was killing demons and running around as this young lady, and it was a great time. A lot of customization options, you can change hair color, skin color, clothes, tons of weapons, lots of RPG elements to it, just a fun side-scrolling goodness. It is Castlevania, but for the modern day. I am so glad the original creator decided to upgrade the visuals of this. It was looking a little bland in previous videos, but this one just pops. So many fun enemies as well. You've got spinning portraits, you've got giant cats that try to meow at you, lots of cool bosses, very Dark Soulsy. Yes, I know that's a trite thing to say now, but you do have to really memorize enemy patterns and overcome them. Fantastic 2D platformer, and I will definitely come back to it later next year maybe. As for number 6, we're back in space. Age of Wonders Planetfall. Think Phoenix Point, but on a grander scale, with not just a bunch of troops, but a bunch of tanks, mechs, aircraft, all kinds of fun stuff throwing off against the enemy. Randomized maps, lots of humor with the different factions, an awesome synthy soundtrack, multiplayer modes, tons of unit customization in terms of abilities, just a lot of fun to have. You can literally play through the same faction on a different map and have a completely different experience with it. If you are into turn-based strategy, then you owe it to yourself to play this one. Right, so that's the 6 to 10 slots taken care of. What about the 1 to 5? Okay, let's get to it. Number 5, Greedfall. This game, for me, felt like playing Dragon Age Origins all over again, but with more hats, more guns, and less dragons. But aside from that, this was a joy to play. An RPG where you really do have control over what happens with different settlements. Lots of different customization options again. You can really craft your own weaponry and try it out in the battle with you or your companions. Lots of extensive relationship things you can do. Tons of side quests, very in-depth. If you have 40 hours to spare and you really want to get immersed in this 16th century type setting, then Greedfall is definitely something you should try. There's some cool enemy designs of the creatures that you encounter, politics with lots of shades of grey, and plenty of quality voice acting. Spiders are definitely on an upward trajectory, and I am looking forward to the next title they decide to bring out. Number 4, and for me this game had the best song I've listened to from a video game in quite some time. This is Devil May Cry 5, and in terms of sheer jubilant fun, no other game comes close to this. Dante, Nero and V are a unlikely trio of badass demon hunters who come together to face off a big tree-like threat, and it's just so much fun, just killing stuff. Guns, swords, bikes, summoning other spooky demons to help you. There's so much here to really get into for the nitty-gritty of demon slaying. Some of the environments, particularly ones based in London, or London-ish, are very pretty, although others can get very bland after a while. And you've got a gauntlet mode afterwards if you really want to test yourself. It does have some kind of weird co-op situation, and that definitely needed more work on, but the whole package is just a really fun experience. As I said, killer soundtrack. A little bit microtransaction though. They could have done to have a bit less of that, but hey, it's a good quality product, and if you're unfamiliar with Devil May Cry, this is a great place to start off with. It'll go through all the previous games and get you right up to snuff. Number 3, and we have Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Yes, it's a remake. Hey, this is a brand new engine, okay? So yes, it does count, and this remake, this game is fantastic. So I first played this game at a convention in, I believe, April and May of this year. I was able to actually sit down, put a controller in my hand, and play against 7 other people. And it was an awesome experience, and I even came second. First and second were really tight. At times, I was almost there, but the guy who came first just peeked me over the finish line. And yeah, I beat 6 other people, and I was very pleased with myself. It doesn't matter, they were all kids. You know, kids need to be beaten at video games sometimes. I had a great time, and that reflected it as well when I got my own copy of the game. So many tracks, not just from the original game, but also from the PS2 one. More characters to use. The physics is on point and very sharp. It's just a fun game, just memorizing all the curves of the tracks and being able to outwit the people in front with whatever item you get. Polar bears, robots, aliens, all kinds of fun, freaky stuff in this, and this, again, great soundtrack, kept me pumped, kept me wanting more, just one more race, and lots of fun stuff to experience. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. If you like Mario Kart, get this game, it's better. Right, so now we have the top 2 games, and this was a very tough decision. 2019 hasn't been, I think, a year for any one big game. Unlike 2018, which had God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. So very big, just overwhelmingly AAA titles. This year, not so much. So number 2 for me, for best games of 2019, is Resident Evil 2, the remake. Yes, it's another remake. And yes, it's a brand new engine. So once again, it counts. This for me is Resident Evil at its best. Horror, great atmosphere. Shooting zombies is different now, but still nerve-wracking. Headshots now don't mean shit unless you get really lucky. Being able to conserve your ammunition again, having to avoid that pale bastard. Lots of really good stuff here. Just a really nice, tightly designed video game. It's fun, it's nerve-wracking. Even after you finish one campaign, you can still play a second one. You can keep on going back and trying different things. You've got time trials. You've got so many Easter eggs for other parts of the franchise. It's just a great survival horror experience. So Resident Evil 2, the remake, for me, is possibly the best Resident Evil game we've had in quite some time. And I am looking forward to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, or RE3 as it's now known as. But we shall see how that one does. Anyway, the time has come. So my number 1 choice is... I'm just kidding. It's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Yes, I know, it was number 1 at the Game Awards, and for good reason. This game rocks. Now, believe me, I wasn't until I played this a Dark Souls type person. I played Dark Souls, and I got to a certain point and thinking, you know what, this probably isn't for me. And I was dubious when I picked up Sekiro. I'm like, it's actually harder than Dark Souls? What's going on? And it took me some time, but after a while, once I got the core mechanics down and I knew what this game wanted from me, I got addicted. I just wanted to see what was behind the next mountain. What next monstrous creature did I have to face? Was it a giant pale snake? Was it a guy on a horse? Was it an undead gorilla? What was behind the next step? And there is so much here to it. The extensive lore, the relationships between different characters, the multiple different endings you have. This game for me, I finished it and straight away I went back for more. And by finish, I mean I got one ending. This game has multiple, and even now, more so than any other game on this list, the urge to go back to Sekiro is so strong that I just want to do that. I just want to keep playing, keep testing myself, trying out new things, new combination of abilities, just keep going, get all the endings eventually one day, but I just love it so much. Maybe I like it hard, and don't get me wrong, this game destroyed me so many times. I think a couple of times I spent several nights in a row going up against the same boss again and again and again, and he or she would just curb stomp me repeatedly. But then I worked out what to do. I worked out their movements, I worked out when best to attack, when best to block, when best to jump, that kind of thing. I felt myself become better at the game, and that was a great experience. A lot of video games you can really play on autopilot. You know, point the gun in the enemy and watch it die. That type of thing. This one demands that you give it the attention it deserves. It demands that you give it 100% focus all the time, because it will mess you up if you don't. Yes, it's not Tenchu. Maybe one day we'll get Tenchu, but for now we have Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice, my #1 game of 2019. Right, so doing all those reviews over the past 12 months has been somewhat tiring, but fun at the same time. I say roll on January and February, since there's not really a lot going on in those months, and I can relax, enjoy my time with some other video games from yesteryear, and get ready for the insanity which is March onwards of 2020. We're going hard, we're going deep, we're going Doom Eternal, we're going Cyberpunk, we're going Final Fantasy VII Remake, Neo 2, Gears Tactic, Predator Hunting Ground, and so many more. It's going to be a blast. So thanks you again for watching this video, and for all my videos, particularly this year. It has been a blast, and I will see you in 2020. And if you want a bit more of me for 2019, then check out my top 10 worst video games of 2019. Until then, bye for now.